Hi, this is Jim from Safety Wars. Before we start the program, I want to make sure everyone understands that we often talk about OSHA and EPA citations, along with some other regulatory actions from other agencies, legal cases, and criminal activity. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Proposed fines are exactly that, and they are often litigated, reduced, or vacated. We use available public records, news accounts, and press releases. We cannot warranty or guarantee the details of any of the stories we share, since we are not directly involved with these stories, at least not most of the time. Enjoy the show.
This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
And from the border of liberty and prosperity in the highway to the north, this is Safety Wars for Monday, November 11th, 2024. This is Veterans Day. Oh, we have to change the date. That's okay. Oh well. Anyway, hey, Safety Wars. Something happens every day. Hope you enjoyed your weekend. Again, reminding everybody, it was just an election. Don't go out there and do anything silly. A lot of people having severe emotional issues. If you are having mental health issues, please get help. There is help available out there. I have to say that. A lot of people on TikTok, a lot of people I interact with, very, very upset. It's not worth it. Believe me, it is not worth it. So, what are we going to do today? We are going to discuss our regular news and views, and we're also going to talk about veteran issues today. It's something my family is near and dear to our hearts, my family, with these issues, and it's again near and dear here for all of us. So we're going to go and let's talk about some local news here. So we have here wildfires. And wildfires here in New York and New Jersey area. For whatever reason, I don't know if it's just the way it happened or if it's just the way it coincidence, or I don't know, or if it's I'm paying more attention. We have a situation here with, since I've been doing the show and been following Safety FM, it seems like we're always somehow in the news. This neighborhood, I don't, well, is it because I live here and I pay attention? Is it some other reason? I don't know what the situation is. I can never get this camera right, and people keep moving the camera on me. I don't know what it is. So today, so what have we had here? We've had reportedly a drought here, the worst one in about 22 years. Hold on, let me get the person's name. So we have had for the last 22 years. Pretty nice weather here, but we've had, now this year we have droughts, real bad droughts here. And I know that other areas of the country, other areas of the world, it's real bad with droughts all the time. But what happened was we had a local firefighter, Jared Lloyd, all right, who was killed in fighting the wildfires out here. What the problem is, hold on. I just lost the story. You gotta love this. That's Rockland County, New York. All right, so Daniel Vasquez killed during the Jennings Creek fire, remembered by Rockland County. And this is from CBS News New York out of Spring Valley, New York. However, my understanding is that the fatality happened in Clarkstown, and there's been some conflicting reports here. CBS News is saying Spring Valley, so I'll go with it, which is not too far away from here. On Monday in Rockland County, people gathered at Ramapo High School to remember 18-year-old Daryl Vasquez, a New York State Parks aide who died while assisting the firefighting scene. Vasquez played second base for the Ramapo High School East Ramapo baseball team. The 2024 graduate planned to attend SUNY Buffalo next year. His job as a state park aide put him in the line of danger. He was sent to help with the Jennings Creek fire, but died when a tree fell on him. He had so much potential. And this is from Erica DeJesus, Vasquez's cousin, or De Jesus, I guess. He was getting ready to go to college. He was so excited to go to work. He loved his job. He loved what he did. The Muncie Fire Department paid tribute with a giant American flag and assisted his mother, Biosotti, when she was overcome with emotion. The memorial ended with a gathering at home plate to light candles, and then balloons were sent soaring into the November sky. Rest in peace, and I hope the family has some type of closure here. Now, yesterday, I'm going through stuff, and I came across this book by John Berger and John Sinton. John Sinton, here, I got it autographed here. Right here, autographed by them. Let me make sure I got it. Water, Earth, and Fire. John Sinton was a professor of mine at Stockton, when it was Stockton State College. And we have that book, right? That was basically, he wrote this book on land use planning for southern New Jersey, where there are wildfires. And everything I learned about wildfires were from Water, Earth, and Fire way back in the day. And it was more of a history book. And the second one, if you're from Stockton in 1990s, Pine Barrens, Ecosystem and Landscape. What we learned in these books was this. Before modern firefighting techniques for wildfires were developed, basically pre-World War II, fires would burn and burn and burn. Very difficult to fight these fires. Lack of mechanized equipment. When people were coming back from World War II, they were experienced with how to do things on a mass level. Better training and training is getting better all the time, and techniques are getting better all the time. But it's still a hideously dangerous job. And what we learned was, reading these books way back in the day, is that fires are normal. Wildfires are normal, especially in areas like southern New Jersey, the Pine Barrens or Pinelands area, and also in similar environments. We have similar environments up and down the whole East Coast and Long Island. And if you do not have this, you would not have Pine Barrens, because the opening of the pine cones is dependent on heat. So when the pine cones open, they release their stuff, and then you get little pine trees, right, all over them. I'm not a botanist, but basically this is the whole gist of everything. And without heat, you can't do that. And with fire, with these small brush fires and everything, raises the heat, and a lot of trees get to propagate, the Pine Barrens and everything else. And you also have areas, and it's believed that, wildfires used to go on for years in prehistoric times, in my understanding. So what ended up happening, what's going on here? A little bit of land use history here in the Northeast. And I was on with David Webb on Sirius XM a number of years ago discussing this. We have in New Jersey an area called Washington's Lookout. It's along Route 22 up, so now the Watchungs, that area. And I have pictures of my parents there, and I have pictures of me there, right, from way back in the day. before my parents were married. But anyway, Washington looked from that area all the way, was able to see New York City, right? And observe troop movements going for miles and miles and miles out. That's so the story goes. And back in them days, everything was cleared. It was all farmland. Eventually, fast forward 200 years, you get the houses being built, highways being built, Route 22, 287, Route 80, all these highways. New York gets built up and everything else, and you don't have farmland anymore. In northern New Jersey, specifically in this area of Ramapo, all along the Sussex County and things of that nature, you had dairy farms. You had a lot of the areas were bought by what we call green acres. I don't know what they call them elsewhere in the country. So what ended up happening was these areas were were all dairy farms mostly, a lot of regular farms and everything else. You go up to Sussex County, you had two main trails and a lot of smaller trails. You had Polskill Valley Trail, Sussex Ranch Trail, which are rail trails. I'm very familiar with them for the last 50 years. You also had state forests that spring up on these old farmlands, Stokes Forest being one, and starting in the late 1800s, early 1900s, after Teddy Roosevelt started designating areas like Yosemite and everything as national parks. And you had this big movement, good thing. But what happened was, especially in Sussex County and up around here, when things were reclaimed, they were made of forest and they started to grow. They had ruins. In areas of Sussex County, I can identify 2 or 3 feet in some areas of dried leaves and other detritus, and many other things going on. Since the railroads moved out in Sussex County, all along these old rail lines, right, are all, and some of them are being re-railed now, but a lot of them, you're dealing with all this debris and junk and brush and everything. Nothing's been managed since, at least in my neighborhood out there, the late 1960s. And no controlled burns. We have one area right here, right down the road from me, completely overgrown, stuff all over, fallen trees, old structures in some cases, and everything. Everything is ripe for a brush fire under the right conditions. So we haven't had an appreciable rain in about a month and a half or 2 months here. So everything is dry. This past weekend, we went with the Troop 97 Boy Scouts, or now Scouts, up to our local Bulliwa, Camp Bulliwa, Rah-Rah Bulliwa, and we weren't allowed to have any campfires. And we were able to make some accommodations because some merit badges had to include cooking out in the open, not with a stove. So we had some accommodations, a lot of precautions with fire fighting and everything else there. No, everything was legal. I assure you, everything was legal. And we ended up, it was in there, and you could smell the smoke. It's not like the smoke last year, or was it the year before, with all the wildfires coming out of Canada, but you could see the smoke and you have one hell of a sunset. And this is where the firefighter had passed away, Dario Vasquez, here. And we have fires all over the place. So what's my point? A lot of these areas, especially in the Northeast, have not been managed ever for forestry and forest fires or anything else. No controlled burns, very little investment in clearing out debris and everything else in a lot of areas. And this place is like a tinderbox up here. So they don't even want people using a fireplace unless you absolutely need to for heating or something. So be mindful of what's going on out there. And, that's where I'm going to go with this. here. So we're going to go to our first commercial break, and here we go.
This is going to blow your mind. This is going to blow your mind. There's a new daytime talk show on your local cable access station. What happened?
For some reason, the button doesn't hurt. Will help.
You are listening to Safety Wars. Tomorrow's Safety Today.
Okay.
This is going to blow your mind. There's a new daytime talk show on your local cable access station. What happens when safety, scandal, and heartbreak collide? Welcome to Safety Wars, the talk show. Today's episode is a doozy. Imagine confronting your unsafe supervisor who just happens to be your ex-wife's new hubby. Talk about a powder keg. But wait, there's more. We've got an exclusive interview with a corporate exec who's life insurance policies on his riskiest workers, hoping to cash in on a deadly mishap. Yup, you heard that right. It's a real-life plot twist you can't make up. Tune in as Jim Posel, CSP, our very own Jerry Springer of safety, dives deep into this explosive confrontation. Sparks will fly and secrets will be exposed. Catch the full episode on Safety Wars on YouTube and your favorite podcast platform. Don't miss out on the drama that could save your life. Like and share now, and stay safe, folks.
Now that I got the audio straightened out here, okay.
From the front lines of the safety war, it's Safety Wars, with your host, Jim Posel on Safety FM. Get ready to face the harsh reality.
In the professional safety community, communication and planning are just a few keys to your program's success. The question many practitioners have is, where do I start? Dr. Jay Allen, the creator of the Safety FM platform and host of the Rated R Safety Show, has built a global foundation to help you along the way. Go to safetyfm.com and listen to some of the industry's best and most involved professionals, including Blaine Hoffman with the Safety Pro, Sam Goodman with the Hop Nerd, Sheldon Primus with the Safety Consultant, Jim Posel with Safety Wars, Emily Elrod with Unapologetically Bold, and many others. As individuals, we can do great things, but as a team, we become amazing. Dial into safetyfm.com today and surround yourself with a powerful force of knowledge and support.
And that's what we have. That was Everything Goes Dark. There. Should have cut it out a little sooner there, but oh well. Now, today is a national holiday here in the United States, Veterans Day, as well as some other areas UK countries here. So on Friday, we did not release a podcast. We had a truncated one there. So I'm going to go over some of the press releases that we went over on Saturday. On Friday on the show. Well, basically, here's what we have. Let me see here. From the Department of Labor news release, so this was on the 8th. The U.S. Department of Labor's Assistant Secretary for Occupational Safety and Health, Douglas Parker, issued the following statement on the Bureau of Labor Statistics 2023 Survey of Occupational Illnesses and Injuries. Today's report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics reveals that the rate of recordable workplace injuries and illnesses in 2023 fell to its lowest level going back to 2003. Private industry and non-fatal injuries and illnesses decreased by 8.4% from 2022. We are encouraged by these significant improvements in injury and illness rates in 2023. Looking at the BLS report and our own recent analysis showing fewer workplace deaths in OSHA's purview, our formula of strong enforcement combined with collaboration between government, labor, and private sector to make the workplace safety and health as a core value is making a difference in the lives of America's workers. And despite the progress reported today, OSHA's work is far from complete. Too many workers are injured or sickened every day in the United States, mostly from preventable incidents. We must continue our commitment to making sure that every worker is able to go home healthy and whole. Safety and health is not a partisan issue, and we hope strategies associated with these outcomes will continue. So we're going to go over to, let's see, do they have a link? Yes, they have the BLS link. So, let's see here. Hold on, let me pull this up. HTML version. Hold on. News release charts. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. Let's do a share screen here. And all right, so this is what we have looking here. This is a chart. This is from BLS.gov. So this is all open source here. So we have the total non-fatal work injury and illness rates for private industry. So here we have at the top here, total recordable cases in 2019 was 2.8 for 100 full-time workers. And then it was 2.7 in 2020, 2.7 in 2021, 2.7 in 2022. And then now it's 2.4 per 100. So it fell slightly here. I don't know. And in practicality, I mean, from the last 2 years of the Trump administration to here, it's got a 0.3 drop, but it was a 0.3 drop from last year too, which, okay, that's great and wonderful that we all have reduced workplace injuries and everything. My question is, how did COVID impact this? Because we had a huge cultural change with COVID, people getting educated more. And a lot of times the people coming back from the COVID layoffs were, in my experience, this is Jimmy's world, right? Almost like Shatner's world, right? This is Jimmy's world where everybody came back different. So are people not taking risks? Are people saying, well, screw it, the employer, no, if I get hurt or killed tomorrow, they will have an ad in the paper. Exactly what is going on here. So private industry employers reported 2.6 million non-fatal workplace injuries and illnesses 2023. And going on. Okay, let's see if we got some of these charts here. So, Table 3, incident rate and number of respiratory illnesses by selected industry. So from things are looking, you're right, are looking better in here. with this, right? Things are going down. And here we have private industry and incidence rate 2.3 in 2022, 2.2 in 2023. And look at the numerical numbers here. So incident rate in numbers in thousands here. So we had 2,343,000, right? And 2022, and this is respiratory, non-fatal, right? Incidence rate and number of non-fatal occupational injuries by selected industry, right? And they have a whole bunch listed here. So we have for total, it's 2,368,000. So that's like 2.3 million, 2.43 million. So you're looking at about 20,000 by my numbers here. Looking at this, I mean, it's progress. It's good. No one's going to argue that it's bad. That we're making progress here. Just that, again, there's statistics here for everything. Again, there's statistics. They can be manipulated. Again, and remember one of the basic principles of HOP. If it gets measured, it gets manipulated. So that's something to consider. And let's see, do they have a PDF version here? Oh, yeah, here we go. Nice and colorful. Here, hold on. Let's go to a nice and colorful one. All right, so this is what we're looking at here. Employer-reported workplace injuries and illnesses in 2023. So here we have total recordable injuries and illness rates. So we have the 2014, well, it was Obama. In 2015, Obama. 2016, Obama. 2017, Trump. And then it sort of like levels off to 2019. And then with the COVID dip, this goes down to the injuries go down to dip. The total number of cases dips slightly. The number of illnesses goes up. I'm wondering if that was 2020. I'm wondering if that was COVID. And then goes down. Right? I'm wondering if that was just the COVID situation here. Chart 2, case counts of all injuries and respiratory illnesses, private industry from 2019 to 2030. And then, we have Biden right here in 2021. It tracks. So here we have all illnesses in 2019, right low, and respiratory illnesses in the gray. And then it goes up 2020 for COVID, 2021 COVID. And now we're back down post-COVID, down a lot. Now, I'm wondering if, here's my question. Is it that COVID is becoming endemic, that things are down? Can we go down to these reported things like in 2019, or are people just reporting things more? I don't know. We'll have to see as things go on with that. So if I could so what does it come down to? Somebody asked me today on the whole thing, right? We're going to have a new administration coming in, presumably new officials at OSHA, right? How are things going to change? We're going to go presumably into a more compliance assistance mode versus a compliance enforcement. And when we're looking at the numbers here, these sets of numbers, the Democrats are supposed to be compliance enforcement more, Republicans compliance assistant, but we're seeing leveled things. Like things have plateaued. A number of years ago, at about 5,000 fatalities, give or take, and the same thing now with this, where we're going to have a couple of standard deviation here with the statistics. However, I don't know. We'll have to see how this goes with everything here. What I think we're going to need, or we have all this information, but what I think we're going to need is better communication with the employees and better communication with the employers. make things easy. When you have to thumb through all of these statistics here, I mean, look at it. Look at some of this. And my eyes glaze over. Even I have issues sometimes looking at this stuff, and I got to figure it out. And we do figure it out very quickly, like I just showed you. But all this stuff needs to, now things are getting better. Things are, right, and things are getting better. I'll say that much, regardless of what they say on the news. And we're going to go to our second commercial break here.
32 years of lessons learned. That is what Jim Posel of Safety Wars has. He has had a front row seat for over 3 decades to the world of workplace safety and health. He's seen the good, the bad, and everything in between. And let me tell you, he's had a wild ride. Now, he's not here to preach or point fingers. Here is some hard-earned practical wisdom he has earned over the years. This isn't about textbooks or regulations, it's about real-world experience, the kind you get from getting your hands dirty in the trenches. So buckle up, grab a wrench, and get ready for Jim Posel's top 10 lessons from 32 years in HSE. Let's do this. Define the dang job. Look, before you even think about safety, you gotta know what you're responsible for. What are your duties? What's your authority? Get it in writing, in black and white, in your employment contract. Can you hire? Can you fire? Can you discipline someone? Can you implement change? Knowing this stuff is crucial. It protects you legally, plain and simple. It's like having the right tool for the job. You can't fix a leaky pipe with a hammer, and hey, if you gotta step outside your lane to help somebody out, do it. But know your boundaries first. It's about covering your backside and doing the right thing. Document and report, no exceptions. Let me tell you something. If someone tells you not to do your job, especially if it involves safety, you document it. Write it down, send an email, whatever it takes. And if it's serious, report it. Especially if it's coming from someone higher up the food chain. Remember, even a written order doesn't absolve you of your responsibilities. And a written one can't be negated by a verbal one. Safety first, always. And if they try to retaliate, well, OSHA's got your back with those whistleblower protections. This ain't about being a snitch. It's about protecting yourself and your coworkers. Documentation is your friend, folks. Remember that. Don't sweat the small stuff. Find the humor. Look, this job can be stressful, no doubt about it. But you gotta find a way to laugh, to not take yourself too seriously. A little humor goes a long way in easing tensions and building relationships. Some people get so wound up, so focused on the rules that they forget to be human. Don't be that guy. Crack a joke, share a laugh. It'll make the tough days a little easier. And when you can laugh at yourself, it makes it a lot harder for others to get under your skin. Now, before you go off on a crusade, ask yourself this. Is this my business? If it's not, walk away. If it is, ask yourself why. Are you the right person to address it? Do you have a constructive approach? Sometimes the best thing you can do is stay out of it. Don't go looking for trouble, it'll find you soon enough. But when it's your time to step up, do it with purpose and a plan. Let's be real clear, if an organization doesn't value human life, they sure as heck won't value worker safety. No matter how hard you try, it's like trying to teach a pig to sing. It's a waste of your time and it annoys the pig. People first, always. That's the bottom line. If a company's not on board with that, you might want to start looking for a new gig. It has been said before, and it bears repeating. If a company's breaking OSHA regulations, chances are they're breaking other employment laws too. It's like a roach motel. You find one, you know there's a whole family hiding nearby. Be thorough, be vigilant, don't let them get away with cutting corners. OSHA's there for a reason to protect workers. Use it. Kill them with kindness. You know, sometimes non-compliance ain't about malice. It's about wrong training, wrong directions, and being told the wrong thing by so-called experts. People just don't know any better or have perverse incentive structures. That's where you come in. Work with them. They are the experts in their jobs and know how to get the job done. Treat them with respect. You are more likely to have a safer work environment working together. Explain why safety standards are important, and work with them to make the workplace safer. Antagonizing rarely works. Shaming, blaming, retraining, pain for pain. None of this works and makes the workplace more unsafe. Whatever you do it with respect, with kindness and understanding. You catch more flies with honey than vinegar, right? Don't come in guns blazing. You'll just put them on the defensive. Be a teacher, a mentor, a colleague, a friend. not a tyrant. Look, nobody likes to be called out in front of their peers. It just breeds resentment and hostility. If you gotta have a difficult conversation with someone, do it privately and document it. Always document it. It protects you and keeps them accountable. Remember, this ain't about throwing anyone under the bus. It's about addressing issues head on and finding solutions. Do it the right way, with respect and discretion. This line of work can beat you down, no doubt, but you gotta find a way to stay positive, to keep your chin up, not just for your own sanity, but for your career too. A positive attitude is contagious. It rubs off on people. And you know what? It drives the negative Nancys, especially the psychopathic types, absolutely crazy. So smile, be optimistic, and watch the naysayers squirm. This one's simple. If someone's acting foolish and is out of control with routine yelling, screaming, intimidation, and just acting like an idiot, document it. Workplace violence is never okay, and it's your responsibility to report it. Create a culture where people feel safe speaking up, where they know they'll be heard. And if someone's struggling, offer support. Remember, mental health is just as important as physical health. Let's look out for each other. Look, these are some of the things that I learned from Jim. He has shared some hard-won lessons with us. He has learned them for over 32 years in the trenches. And if there's one thing he wants you to do with all this, make a difference. Speak up for those who can't, fight for what's right, and never ever compromise on safety. Go out there, be the change you want to see, and make the world a safer place, one workplace at a time. And remember, one man can make a difference. Where can you get this and many other lessons? It's on Safety Wars, available on your favorite podcast platform and on video platforms like YouTube under Safety Wars. You can always go to safetywars.com. He is also on Jay Allen's Safety FM network at safetyfm.com. He also offers safety training in a variety of subjects like OSHA outreach classes, 10 or 30 hour, HAZWOPER, and many others. Give him a call at 845-269-5772 or Jim at safetywars.com.
All right, we are back here with that. Every once in a while, I like to go through that stuff here. OSHA recordables, catastrophic losses, environmental disasters. You want answers? So do I. This is Jim Posel with Safety Wars.
That's my daddy.
So today we are going to discuss veterans issues. Well, why is that? Well, unfortunately, over the last year, I have become I've become very experienced with dealing with the VA, the Veterans Administration, the organization task, the government organization task, that I believe is the cabinet level position here, the head of the agency for taking care of veterans. I mean, it was set up after these world wars, I believe, and maybe even before that, there were forerunners. We had lots of people out there coming back from war with injuries, long-term injuries, and everything else, and accessing health care for them. Now, a lot of barriers here with this stuff. With getting help, and once they get into the system, what happens? There was a recent article by Jen Kerfoot from April 29th of this year, Unseen Battles, the Harsh Realities of Veterans' Access to Health Cares. And she details this, and this was in several newspapers out here. I believe it was on the statnews.com website. Basically, the suicide rate for veterans is 72% higher than of non-veteran U.S. adults. It's not a member. It's a clarion call for change. And you have to go and, again, if you're having mental health issues, there are resources out there. Please utilize them. It shouldn't be easier to enlist in the military, and this is her opinion, than it is to get good health care, and it shouldn't be easier to go to war than to come home from it. And she goes in and details everything through here, right? The contract, right? I had to commit in the next 5 years of my life after she was in there in the Navy. The contrasts between getting private health care and VA healthcare, Veterans Administration healthcare, is convoluted, she says. I recall with a sense of frustration my first visit to a VA hospital in 2015. A three-week wait for mental health care was its best offer, thus I was on the brink of self-harm. I left disillusioned and never returned for behavioral health support at the VA again. My experience is not unique. So here you go in a crisis situation, and they get a 3-week wait, right? Going on here, right? From the moment you don your uniform, every aspect of your care is meticulously managed for you. Terms like coverage, eligibility, co-payments, and scheduling complexities are foreign languages in this well-oiled machine. Upon being discharged, a veteran is in uncharted waters, navigating a sea of administrative tasks that are as crucial as they are bewildering. This is what Jimmy is saying. Jimmy Posel, nobody else here. It's almost like the system is set up so you don't use it because it's such a pain in the neck to traverse the red tape and the attitudes and everything else. The transition from military, to civilian life isn't just about adapting to civilian life. It's about relearning how to manage your very existence, including the intricacies of healthcare administration. Even in the best scenarios, where familiar support and managed mental health care were my anchors, the process was overwhelming. Now consider the magnified challenges faced by those who aren't as fortunate, those who step into this complex world. So, for example, if someone is delusional and is out to lunch, so to speak, and I don't say that as a joke, who has a serious mental issue, can you imagine them I cannot imagine them traversing this system here, trying to get help. Maybe that's why we have so many suicides. They don't get help. I don't know. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Immediately upon discharge, a veteran no longer automatically covered for health care, and that comes as a shock, right? Combat service doesn't guarantee immediate VA healthcare enrollment. The VA healthcare enrollment process for veterans offers multiple application methods: online, by phone, in person, or at a VA facility, which can be confusing and overwhelming as veterans may not know the best route to take. How many of these veterans, especially the older ones, don't have access to internet, don't have access to a phone? It happens, especially if they're homeless. With this, in 2023, there were an estimated 18 million veterans. Of that, 9 million were eligible for VA care, and only 6 million were using it. So it's a 3 million person gap. Real people battling mental health challenges, PTSD, and in substance misuse, often in isolation. The complexity of their needs mirrors the complexity of the system they're struggling to navigate. So what's the solution? There was the PACT Act, which President Biden signed in 2022, a step in historically expanding eligibility for VA care and increasing access to it. But it's like putting a Band-Aid on a wound. So this is some of the solutions that the author, Jen Kerfoot, came up with, and I really can't argue with these based on my experience with the system. Automatic enrollment. Veterans who are honorably discharged should be automatically enrolled into the VA healthcare system, right? Streamlined communication, better integration and communication between departments like Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services and the VA are key to simplifying the labyrinth bureaucracy that currently exists. Basically, what happens is they push each other off on this stuff. Seen it. You can't argue with me on this. Again, the VA, they're wonderful people working there and everything. But I've heard from other veterans, as well as my personal experience I've had, has been to make the situation so difficult that they don't want to, that they literally don't want you to, want you to say the hell with it. Because if you're really serious about your mental health, you would be really serious about your mental health and be using the system, sort of thing. I mean, come on. Here, people are in mental crisis. Now they got to traverse this stuff. And if they don't have an advocate, that's how you end up with 3 million veterans not in the system, not using the system. Money alone won't solve this crisis. Collaboration is the key, right? So here we go. Automatic enrollment, streamlined communication, simplified applications. This isn't just about combating the rising costs of healthcare. It's about valuing the service and sacrifice of those who, at one point in their life, wrote a blank check made payable to the USA. But what else is going on? I spent the morning in a veterans hospital, and what we ended up, this is basically what happened. The place is on COVID lockdown, so nobody's really wants to go in there, right? They had a lot of visitors this weekend, but Veterans Day, a lot of people off, a lot of people working. Nobody wanted to be there. I was one of the only visitors. I'm not virtue signaling. That's not what the point is. I don't virtue signal. Everyone knows that. If you're a listener here, I actually abhor it. But simple things. Call your local veterans center if you can. See what help they need. The local VA. There are volunteer opportunities. I know my brother, my two brothers and I used to go, my brother John regularly, with to the veterans at least once a month to take a veteran to church day. My brother Wally would go also, and I would go occasionally. And just the idea of being able to have some type of outreach here with them. Certain things, and now it may sound stupid, and maybe I'm overplaying this a little bit, but simple things could cause a crisis for anyone in long-term care. So last time I went, we had somebody whose belt that morning broke. So the belt doesn't work. Go out and get another belt. Guess what? His family does not routinely go there. The family, the stores, they have commissaries on these veteran facilities. A little more than convenience stores. They do the best they can. They're doing the best they can under the circumstances. But maybe if they could expand these stores a little bit more into mini Walmart. I mean, there's 171 Department of Veterans Affairs facilities and 1,100 outpatient facilities. Maybe a company like Walmart, Target, Costco, even BJ's, some retail outlet could help expand some of these stores. They're not going to make a lot of money doing this. They may lose money doing this, but it might be them or some other group goes in there and supplies the veterans with some basic needs. Here, most of the people, they get a little allowance every month. Maybe that might go a far way into helping some of the veterans. Now, I got the guy a belt. The guy was crying because I got him a belt. His belt broke. Let's consider what that belt is. You can't keep your pants up. You can't walk around. How about shoes? Another one. I have a family member who, for years, she has gone to facilities like this around every holiday time, and she's Jewish, by the way, but around Christmas, and she would visit these facilities on Christmas Day and would make donations, simple things, socks, T-shirts, different care packages with basic necessities, deodorant, toothpaste, toothbrush. Folks don't have them. A lot of times the families abandon people in these facilities. They either, and I'm not judging anyone because there could be all different circumstances where people can't manage themselves. So how can they help manage and help other people? They can't, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very stressful, especially in the mental health field, to be dealing with someone with a mental illness for a lot of folks. So now you have to deal with them, right? And in there, a lot of these people don't have any outreach to the outer world. Remember, you may have a TV. Things have improved over the years. Now, at the facility I'm familiar with, everybody has their own TV. Used to not be the way it was. Not being, imagine sitting around watching TV all the time. That's all the only thing you have. Well, Jim, what about radio? Well, guess what? Radio, you're in a steel reinforced building. Radio, not very good, especially AM. Read. A lot of the veterans, again, how many people read? Not so much anymore. Can they read? Or is their health so bad that they can't do that? A lot of things, and you got to have some empathy for these folks. Right? So we always talk about setting up systems and everything. Oh, we got to set up a system for this and a system for that. Often what's needed is one-on-one contact and empathy. Can we deliver empathy? Can we be more empathetic for meaningful things? Here I have a report from the GAO. Here. General Accounting Office. This is testimony, and this was from May 17, 2023 from the GAO. I'm sharing it now because it's a government document and I could do that. Staffing challenges and recommendations for improvement for veterans' health care. The VA operates on the nation's largest healthcare system, employing more than 371,000 clinical and support staff at 171 VA Affairs medical centers and more than 1,100 outpatient facilities. VHA's, Veterans Health Administration's ability to attract, hire, and retain high-performing staff is critical to its mission. In recent work, the GAO has made several recommendations to VHA to help address certain staffing challenges. And I'll attest, staffing challenges are a major issue at these facilities. So community care staffing needs. This is, my experience is that this is the community care. There's a department at every VA, and they basically manage patients. They're like your gatekeepers here. So, VHA developed a staffing tool to help its medical facilities determine the number of staff needed for VA's community care system, which allows veterans to obtain care outside the VA. However, this tool did not require facilities to assess all staffing and resource needs. Most VA facilities and GAOs have been going on and on. Again, getting more people. Integrating mental health care within primary care settings. The GAO's review describes staffing challenges that adversely affect efforts to implement programs integrating mental health care within primary care settings. And there's a huge mental health need here at the VA. The GAO recommended that the VHA comprehensively evaluate and implement strategies to help mitigate staffing challenges. Again, getting staff. And this is the last one. This sounds like a back office kind of thing, but I'm sure it's very important nonetheless. They made the recommendation that reliable data to monitor new hire onboarding tasks. The VHA lacks the reliable data, complete, accurate, and timely needed to monitor the completion of key onboarding tasks for new hires. All right, with that, and going on and on, there's also some more. There's a highlights thing here. Yeah, that's basically it. Right? Again, staffing challenges. They're short on staff in a lot of these facilities. So, for example, right, and this is one of the ones I have today, observations. It's National Holiday, Veterans Day. Guess who's not working on Veterans Day? People at the VA center. They're still on the weekend staff, meaning there's nothing to do here. So you have people cooped up for 3 days, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, nothing to do. Most of these people, no visitors. They've been abandoned by their families. It's a tough cookie to swallow for a lot of these veterans. Not good with that, along with basic needs being met. Yeah, maybe they have the basic needs. They're getting 3 hots and a cot, some medical care, some very good medical care, I might add. But how do we make their lives a little bit easier? how do we make everyone's lives a little bit easier? And how do we advocate for these folks that have given limbs, that have given their lives, given their minds to this country? And it's a little bit of a disgrace here. And I wanted to just, thank you veterans out there, male and female. Let's not forget the female veterans. A lot of people don't even consider them with their stuff here. And that's what we got. So what do we need? What's the lesson here? Improve veteran access to care and benefits. With that, and improve mental health. That's the other thing. Again, these audits, there's a lot of audits. There's a lot of stuff out there. They don't tell the whole story. I can talk for 2 or 3 hours on them, but we don't have 2 or 3 hours. Just have what we have. So we're right at 55 minutes after the hour. I don't know. Let's see what goes on here. Let's see if there's anything else here that we want to talk about. We talked about the fires. We talked about, internationally, there's a lot of stuff going on here. We have North Korea blocking GHS. GPS. GHS is different. GPS signals of South Korea. We have UFO swarm film buzzing over Area 51 and other military facilities. They're not allowed to shoot them down, which is shocking. We have Harriet Tubman posthumously named the general in a Veterans Day ceremony. Revered abolitionist Harriet Tubman, who was the first woman to oversee an American military action during the time of war, was posthumously awarded the rank of general on Monday. Good thing. Gannett. Now, there was a poll released on Iowa for the presidential race on November 2nd saying that Kamala Harris was ahead in the polling. And it turns out that she lost Iowa. So they're like, what happened here with this? Right? Oops, and here we have Simon and Garfunkel are now trying to get along again. And here we have one, here RFK Jr.'s new bully pulpit sends public health shockwaves. President-elect Trump's promise to let Robert F. Kennedy go wild on health is demoralizing public health experts who worry he could meddle with key environmental agencies, amplify vaccine hesitancy, direct agency funding to favor his preferred views. I don't know. These include removing fluoride from public water. There's a story about 2 or 3 weeks ago on that. They're looking at that again, and that was before the election and when Joe Biden was winning, right? Promoting a wide variety of unorthodox and unproven treatments and pushing deep skepticism of pharmaceutical companies. I don't think that the pharmaceutical companies could blame Robert F. Kennedy on this. I mean, most people I know, they're a little bit, skeptical here. Very well-known people because of how the COVID-19 was managed. And then all of a sudden, once you go into that, now you get the conspiracy theorists and everything else come out of the woodwork, and the conspiracy theorists are on the right and left when it comes to healthcare. So, enough said on that. So, that's what I got for tonight. I look forward to getting some input on you. I don't know whether I'll be here tomorrow or not, but I will definitely be here on later this week. For Safety Wars, this is Jim Posel.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.